Hello. How
My
you
God,
doing?
I get both of you. Wow,
I
Lord.
know, look at this. And we've got a ton of note takers here, but let's give everyone a second to get some other people on here. I know there's some that were messaging me excited for this call. So,
Hey.
yes, so excited. How are you doing? You look beautiful, both of you.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Doing good.
I love your hearts, Allie. Those three hearts are going to be filled in Jesus' name.
I know. Jordan's actually 99% sure she's going to join us, and you guys are both going to be on her podcast.
Jordan.
Reynolds, did I not connect you with social media, Jordan? I promise I did. Yes? No?
I
For
don't think,
podcasting?
I don't. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay, that Jordan.
both of you.
Sorry. I'm like,
I
yay.
don't remember.
I connected you guys after a line, Ray Ray. She
Oh.
was the social media person doing all of Brooke Hemingway's stuff, brown hair, super cute, on the panel with Brody.
Oh, yes. Yeah. She does the social media retreats.
Did you guys get on each other's podcasts?
No.
Oh, I'll circle if you want. I'll circle back.
I can circle back with her. We spent some time together in Cabo.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi,
I'm all set with her.
Jessica!
So, hello.
We're
so
gonna
good.
surf with you, Jessica. I didn't even know you were still here until Marissa and Ray and I were at the beach on Saturday. What the
Yes,
heck?
yes, I know, I didn't know. I'm actually still here and I'm going to still be here probably for another 6 weeks at least.
Done.
Things
We're
are
doing it.
happening, moving. We'll see.
Let's go.
I love it.
I'm
I
Yeah.
gonna
love
text
it.
you
Love
right
it.
now.
Well, let me just go ahead and introduce Molly. And I think there's going to be some others that jump on a little late, but Molly, basically, I'm just introducing you to those that are joining, that are watching the replay. And Molly is just an incredible female entrepreneur who really has anchored in the power of storytelling. She has a background of being I'm saying the wrong word, not a news host, but news anchor. And just from that, went through her own incredible journey of her own story and growth. And then since then has been able to build media companies and support entrepreneurs and really dialing in their stories and using it to expand and grow their own business, their marketing, and dial it into also the service of what she's able to provide for not only non-clients and also clients. And the main thing I want to highlight there is she knows how to use storytelling to also move sales in business as well. So that's so important. And thank you so much for being here, Molly. And I'll let you kind of share a little bit more about what you're up to because you also are, oh, I have to say one more thing. You have a media channel that is absolutely taking off right now. It's going above and beyond what most people are seeing happen. I'm talking like it's like crazy views. I don't want to put a number on it. You tell us the numbers of what's happening, but give us a little background of what is going on in your world right now, and then I'll let you just kick it off from here.
Yes. Well, Ray, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here. I've been very much looking forward to this. I mean, every time Ray and I get to talk outside of this, just hearing the things that are going on in this community, I mean, people are moving. They are moving. And so, one of the things that I love to do to support those who are movers and shakers of what kind of stories are we telling in order for people to really understand three different things: our lived, our learned, and leadership experience. Because where you've gotten to now, there has a cost that got you to where you are. So I'll kind of explain a little bit of my cost that got me here because we're about storytelling, right? And then a little bit later, just to make sure that I have permissions, I'll have a few slides that I share with y'all so we can be able to really dive in together to even get some of these stories started. So I want to make sure when you jump off of this, you already have some stories that are in the hopper, they are cooking, and you could actually just start deploying them instantly because I know you have that gold inside of you, and we're going to pull some of that out today. But as Ray had mentioned, my former career, I was a news anchor and reporter. I basically decided at the age of 14, this sounds fun, got in, and then I was like, wow, this is anything but fun. a very toxic industry, but I saw I'm going to learn a lot here and I'm going to take whatever I learn here and probably deploy it somewhere else. Didn't know where that would be. So, I mean, you talk about getting fire hosed with information, kind of like our stories, right? What do I share? There's so much that's out there. What parts do I share and when? Well, the news helped me really boil that down, which I now help people boil down as well. Where I used to be fire hose for about hours, 7 hours of information, have to put it in 30, 60, maybe 90 seconds. And so when you take these different parts of your story and you understand what goes where, you have confidence in that. So the news brought that to me. Now I get to deploy that to other people. But when I was in the news, realizing I wasn't going to be there forever, once I left, which by the way, I actually ended up getting fired because I was helping people building a side hustle, helping them become the best versions of themselves. They essentially said, we don't like that. Goodbye. And I said, well, thanks. Gotta go. Because I knew I needed to exit. I just didn't know how. After, I mean, going to school for what, 4 years, trying to get my foot in the door, feels like forever. Now I'm entering into a world I have no idea, which was the world of entrepreneurship. But here's what I discovered. Everything that we have started with or things part of our past, they will be able to come into the future and we get to cherry pick what are the things that I want to carry with me. So I knew storytelling was something that everybody needed. I didn't know how to deploy that yet until I got into my first network marketing company, which eventually led me to the coaching industry, 10 years in it now. And every single person I came across that had a product to sell, a package to sell, anything to sell, typically struggled with, why are you doing this? What separates you from others? What makes people trust you versus the thousands of other people they could go with? And most people didn't have language for it. So light bulb goes off, insert business idea, and then be able to create a consulting company around that to help people pull out these stories, their lived, their learned, their leadership experience. And for me, where this all even started from wanting to tell stories is for the longest time when I was younger, even up until now, I've had plenty of people try to silence me. Be quiet. You're too much. You're doing a lot over here. You're kind of extra. Anybody else like where people are like, shh, I know Allie and I know Ray. I don't know you yet, Jessica, but a lot of people just get intimidated by that. And for some, that's water on the fire and then it goes out. For me, I'm a bit of a rebel where I'm like, ooh, that fuels my fire. How can I actually take that and use it to my advantage? And that's what I've helped other people walk through is whether they've had water douse out their fire of opinions from other people. They don't know where to start when it comes to sharing their stories, what to even tell, or even they even get stuck of would people even care? The whole point is people actually do care more than you think because it's the part that builds the trust. So I shared this part of my story with you that people tried to silence me for so long that I actually took that, it fueled my fire. And I said, how can I use this? And now I've created successful businesses, multiple different businesses from it, because I know the power of storytelling. I know the power of connection. One of my favorite things to do is just to listen. Tell me about your vision. Tell me where you want to go. Tell me why, like the deeper things, the person behind the business. And those are the parts that we want to pull out. So whether you have a business that is just getting off the ground, you have an idea that's just getting off the ground, or you've created a 7-8 figure business, I've helped men and women all throughout those different stages when it comes to where they are professionally, pull out those stories that have been missing that can help turn strangers into clients by just the content that you are putting out there. Does anybody, go ahead and put it in the chat, does anybody get a little confused when it comes to what should I really be saying? Like we know what chat says or Claude says or what people suggest like you should be talking about, but is there any like kind of a little bit of a rub of like, is this really working? Is anybody really listening? Does anybody have that? Let me know in the chat if anybody has that. Yes, yes. I know I've had that too where I'm like, hello, knock, knock. Is like anybody out there? And I've been doing this for a long time. And people can blame the algorithm. They can blame all these different factors. But the part that you have control over is not what the algorithm does, not people, how they're feeling that day and what they want to consume. It's, am I going to be consistent in sharing the stories and the lived experience that's inside me? And that's something that I've been able to do personally and help walk hundreds of professionals through over the last 10 years of consistency matters. and the stories you tell and the conviction behind that matters. And so that's where we're going to really be able to settle in today. Because if you don't have that, then you're always going to be playing this guessing game, being whipped around by this trend and that trend. And how do I go viral? I'll tell you this, I'll put it in simple terms for those when it comes to people that are passionate about their health. I've been passionate about my health for a long time. It was actually one of my first businesses outside of corporate that I created, a health and fitness business, because I love pouring into my health. And so you have these trendy workouts. Try this, try that. Oh, that sounds fun. But the workouts that will always hold true, squats, core exercises, what else? Doing bicep curls. Like there are certain things at the gym that are staples and have been staples forever that will help you get fit that don't have to be trendy. The same comes with storytelling. So we're so busy chasing the trends, which can be helpful to bring in new engagement and new eyeballs. But if we're not consistent with the things that we're doing as far as the stories we're telling and what we've walked through, which may sound redundant for you, but new people are listening and watching all the time. So I'm going to dive in here. And if you will allow me to share my screen, Ray, that would be amazing. And then I can be able to, perfect, there it is. We're going to dive into the story. Your story specifically is the strategy, how we steward that story, how you really actually build credible influence. There's a lot of influence out there that is fleeting. They're just jumping on the trends. They're jumping on the flashy this, the flashy that. But how you and what you've walked through is going to build that authority, that influence, that credibility to really multiply your impact. And all it is sharing the stories that are already inside of you. You don't have to go chase the trends. You just have to dig a little bit deeper to what's already there. So when it comes to building a business, you're not just building something just for the sake of it. There was a vision. There's maybe a pain point. There was a dream with it. There was a reason as to why you got into building what it is that you are building. And I would love to know. I'd love to kind of have this conversation in the chat. Share with me, why is it maybe in a few words that you are building what you're building? Like, what is it about this idea, this business, this movement, this legacy? I would love to read a couple of those if anybody is brave enough to share. Safe place. Would love to hear. So we'll wait till some of those come in because it's bigger than just what it is that you can provide people. The biggest thing that's going to separate you is the deeper parts, the why behind it. And everybody talks about that all the time. Because you're not just building a business, you're stewarding that assignment. That assignment was given to you and everybody wants to multiply what they have. But if you don't steward even the small part, why did you get started? Who is that specific person you need to reach with your content and your business? Then you're not stewarding very well. Okay, perfect. Love these. Ali says, a movement of strong, godly women making an impact in the marketplace for his glory. Yeah, you are. I personally know Ali. Susan says, personal experience, helping other women make career transitions without floundering, helping them find their roadmap. I love that. I just heard the word intention. There's a lot of intentionality there. I love that. Jessica says, taking control of your own health, healing, and longevity. Well, my health metaphor definitely resonated with you, Jessica, because without your health, what do you have? You can't even steward the assignment. You can't steward the business if you don't feel well. And so how you steward your body, that is very foundational, which all of these are amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Love that. So here's the problem that I see with most entrepreneurs. And again, as I shared earlier, I've been doing this for a little over a decade, walking people through why it is their story is the strategy and why they need to pull out and start believing in that. So most entrepreneurs know their story matters, but these are the hang up points. What story do I tell? When do I tell it? Even how do I tell it? How do I use it strategically? And what we're going to walk through is how your stories aren't just your lived and learned experience. It's actually a business asset. And it's a business asset that you want to be able to use over and over and over again. Ooh, this is a big one. Okay, I have to know because every time I see this, I know I feel some type of way. When you feel revenue leak, type in the chat. What do you feel when you read that word revenue leak? What comes to your mind when you see revenue leak? Maybe you're like, I have revenue leaks, or ew, I don't want that. What comes to mind when you see revenue leak? I'm curious. Type it in the chat. This is something that I see far too often. And while you're typing that in the chat, picture this. You have a house. and there's piping, right, for water. And you just have a few little drips. Just starts with a few little drips, not a big problem. That drip turns into a little stream. The stream turns into a puddle. The puddle then turns into a full remodel of wherever that drip is happening. Anybody resonate with that? Maybe you've had home improvement problems, but the little drip wasn't a big deal until that leak turned into a whole renovation real quick. This is what happens in our business when we are unclear of what it is that we are sharing. And so when you think of, oh, do I have a revenue leak? This is where we get to check under the floorboards of our business, get to check our sales language. We get to check our content language, podcast language everywhere to make sure we don't have those leaks. Because if your story is unclear, your buyer has to work too hard. And we know how everybody loves to Amazon Prime it, right? 2 days. And if it's 2 days, if it's longer than 2 days, then it's too long. Well, side note, little story. My husband and I, we just entered into the military this year, and we are moving from Las Vegas to a tiny little town in Louisiana, which I don't even think Amazon Prime even exists. 2 days doesn't even exist out there. It's like 5,200 people, little tiny town. And people are like, I hope you can deal with that. And I'm like, you know what? So what if it takes a few days? And I say that now, but I may be eating my own words in a couple months when I'm like, I needed this and I needed this now. But again, people are so used to, I need it now, yesterday, or in 2 days max. And if it's too long and I have to work too hard, forget it. Forget it. So you might be falling in one of these categories. Your content may inspire people, but it's not converting into anything. You might have spent all this time on this post, but then it's like, cue the crickets. Chirp, chirp. Like, where are the people at? Your sales calls may require too much explaining. Anybody else ever been there? Like when it comes to explaining people what you do, what you offer, sometimes you're like, this is going on a little bit too long. Or your message may be making the sales harder than it needs to be, meaning like you're not sharing the stories that are actually going to lead people into what it is that you want to lead them into. It could be a new thought, a new program, just something new in general. Doesn't always have to be leading them to something to buy. One of the most powerful leaks, actually, maybe powerful leak isn't the best way to put it. One of the biggest revenue leaks that I see for people is they're so fixated on buy my program, buy into this new thing that I'm doing. But first, you need to buy their attention and their trust. And the biggest way that you can do that, and what I've seen work really well with my clients and my content as well, because I live it out and I walk it out before I ever teach anybody what it is that has worked for me, it's helping them buy into a fresh perspective. If you can help people buy into a fresh perspective, a fresh thought pattern, something that's new, that is different than the rest, you have now hooked them. And most of the times, if you keep that up consistently, you've hooked them for life. And if you can help people obviously shift their paradigm, shift their perspective, they're like, well, what else is there? So when you do come with the, here's what I'm doing, they've already been able to experience you in a life-altering way. Has anybody ever experienced that? You come across the post, or maybe you have put out something and somebody said, wow, because of that, my perspective has shifted. Type it in the chat. Anybody ever experienced that? Or maybe you actually delivered that experience to somebody else. Or if you haven't, say, I want this, you want to step into more of that. I'll tell you that that's some of my favorite type of content to come across. I'm like, please challenge my mind. Please challenge me, because I want to use this God-given brain to really be able to exercise of, why do I believe what I believe? Why does this stick with me? Where else can there be truth? Or maybe it solidifies of, no, this is exactly where we are and I am solid. But without challenging content, or without challenging just anything in general, we don't actually get to use this thing that God gave us to its full potential. So your story, it's not just personal, like just hear about me and what I've walked through. When you position it correctly, this becomes your sales infrastructure. This becomes the trust engine. Right now, we're in such a trust deficit because so many people are like, well, who actually wrote this? Can I actually believe you? Is that just AI spitting something out? Is this your actual lived experience coming out? Like, what is it? And we know this, a confused mind does nothing. But if you can help them create clarity, shift a perspective, show them, hey, I've walked through this, and these are the people I'm talking to. If they want to get on the other side, You share those stories, now it becomes a part of the sales process without just leaving that for the call, right? One person that I know who does this really well is Allie, and I can speak to that because I am in Allie's inner circle, and she does this very well where she leads people through her experience. She pulls back the curtain of here are the things that I actually have done wrong, but what I've learned from it. I love that personally because everybody can give the highlight reel, but if you can show me what you've lost, but what you've gained, or maybe you're in the middle of it and you're showing, hey, I'm not sure maybe where this will go, but by faith, I know something good's going to come out of it. Like you want to really be able to press into that. And I know that might sound scary, and I'm going to show you how you can do that here in a little bit, but it's so important because that will help you have what I like to call set apart content with the stories that we are going to be building. So we're not going to go over all this, but this is part of a system that I have created with my life's work of walking professionals from just starting out in business to having 8-figure businesses. I put together what's called the 7-story system to take the lived, learn, and leadership experience and to be able to create these 7 stories. Now, I'm not sure what everybody's beliefs are on this call, but you can always switch number 7 from the salvation story to the conviction story, how you are led, where you are pulled, right? I put salvation story in there because the Lord is in everything that I do. I cannot take him out of any part of my business at all. But all of these stories play a part. And we're going to go over 3 of these stories today: the content story, signature story, and client story, to get the engine moving, where you can get the thoughts coming and even just remembering your own experience. Through the 7-story system, one of the reasons I designed it is it's in case people can't hire me to either come into my inner circle privately, they can actually have this infrastructure, this system to start pulling, asking the right questions to pull to create each one of these assets that then you can deploy in your marketing, for podcasts, stages, emails, blogs. I mean, wherever content goes, why not have a strategic story to align with it instead of just figuring out, what do I say today? Anybody else ever been there? Everybody else ever been there of like, I don't really know what to say. I've been there too. And many years ago, what I used to walk my clients through before this was created was basically a brain dump on a spreadsheet. I'm like, here's your 3 pillars, start brain dumping on what you can talk about, and then write 2 to 3 bullet points. And that was really helpful for them. But then there was time for an upgrade of, okay, without these thousands of stories going around, what are a few stories that we can repeat over and over and over again? And before I move to the next, anybody know who Tony Robbins is in here? Maybe not personally, but yeah, okay. Everybody knows who Tony is. Tony is so successful at what he does. And one of the things that makes him so successful and has that conviction in his voice, whether you like the guy or not, is he tells the same stories over and over and over again. And I think from my perspective of helping walking, men and women through this, I think from Tony's perspective, I'm like, he must be so tired of telling the same stories. Like, oh, here's this story again. But you know what? He's going to keep telling it. Why? The guy makes millions and millions of dollars. So whether he's tired of that story or not, it works. And so you might be like, I've heard this before. People are probably sick of this. They're tired of me talking about this. Here's what I know to be true. When you create these stories that you get to repeat over and over, and some of these might change, right? Content story, there's going to be different pieces that you're going to put out there. Clients, there's many different clients. How do you pull out the right types of testimonies, but then how do you share that, specifically? Your brand story will evolve over time, right? And so with Tony, he knew that if I can tell something that is repeatable and that sticks and I do it over and over and over again, somebody could hear that story, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Maybe it's the 6th or 7th time that it's like, ding, because the person had the right soil. They were able to absorb what they just heard. If you think about a garden, you can have, soil that is dry where the water just beads off because it's not full of what it needs to be full of. It's been neglected, rejected, whatever you want to call it. But then you have that good soil where they're watering it. They're pouring things into it. They put those coffee rinds and, after they got done pressing their juice, they're putting all the different pulp in there, whatever. They're banana peels. I'm not a gardener. These are from my gardener friends. but the soil is rich. It's rich. And so when soil is rich, it's able to absorb. When soil is not rich, it beads off. And so when you tell that story, maybe for the 5th, 6th, 10th time, and it finally sinks in, especially after people have been getting hit all day with whatever's on their phone, whatever's coming up, whatever podcast or whatever they're listening to, they're like, oh, it clicked. So you may be tired of it, but it could be somebody's first time of actually grabbing it. So hold that when it comes to you're at that point of like, I feel like I've been sharing this like so many times. Tony probably feels the same way, but he's made millions. So if you want to look at somebody and like you want somebody to model after, the guy obviously has a genius blueprint. So as I mentioned, we have 3 stories that we are going to focus on today and a few prompts to really just kind of get, again, the engine moving. So I actually already sent this, Ray, to May, so everybody can have access to all these slides. You're more than welcome to take them, take screenshots, what have you. I'm very much like, you take it and you do whatever you want with it. But we're going to dive into the content story, which is going to build trust. The signature story, which builds your authority and credibility, and then the client story, which will create belief. So these are just 3 of the 7 that we're going to dive into, but these are like 3 of, I can't even say the most important because they're all important, but they are pivotal. They are absolutely pivotal. So the content story. Anybody want to turn some of those looky-loos and strangers into fans and people that would actually like, hey, I'm ready. Like I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to do the thing. I know I have a lot of looky-loos that they're like, every time they comment. And if I see you doing that, I'm jumping in there being like, all right, what's next? Like, I see you. I don't know if you see you, but I see you. You know, what is next? Because I see the intention behind it. Kind of like when Susan was explaining earlier, I heard the word intention for you. Like, intention is everything. And when your intention can give people attention of, I see you, sometimes that's all they need to go on the other side of the fence. So the content story, the whole goal, turning strangers into fans, and then, of course, into clients. So something to write down to get the engine going. And if you already have something that you would like to share, please put it in the comments. I would love to be able to kind of have some interaction here of what did you once believe, experience, or overcome that your audience is currently walking through? What is something that you have once believed, that or experience or have overcome that your audience is currently walking through? If anybody wants to share that, this is so important. So many times we get so fixated, and this is the revenue leak I was talking about earlier, one of many, is we're so busy on come into my program. Here's the new thing. But if you can start asking better questions and also remembering like these things that you've walked through and speaking to that, people will start coming around and being like, oh, there's something deeper here. Yes, please, Rick, come off mute. Absolutely. Oh, she said, can someone come off mute? Sorry, I thought you said you wanted to come off mute. If somebody does want to come off mute and share, yes, by all means, you're more than welcome to do that. I'll start with Allie. She says, people pleasing and imposter syndrome. So Allie, I know that I'm sure you got plenty that you could say on this if you want to come off mute, if you want to pick one of those and just, what you have once walked through, because I'm sure obviously probably everybody on this call and most people in general can resonate with that.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing with people pleasing is you're constantly worried what people are going to think, regardless if they're even your ideal client or anyone that you actually want to do life with. And so it always hinders women specifically's growth because they're constantly in the back of their head instead of being in the front, and also just having an audience of one. If God's gifted you, so I'm very faith-based, right? So in my opinion and in my work, if God has gifted you with skills and talents, you need to be more concerned with what he says about you and what he's given you versus the person in the nosebleeds that's never gotten in the ring, never played on the court, but people give so much energy, so much power to those that have never done where they're trying to go. And so it's really a great reminder. This is so great. I know your story system, and it's just so good. Like you said, why can Tony charge $1 million for 60 minutes? Yeah, that's his going rate. was sharing the same stories for, what is he at, 20 years? Well,
Mm-hmm.
because they sell, stories sell. So, so proud of you. This is
I
so
love
good.
that. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm gonna keep putting the spotlight on you just to build a little bit of relatability here. What was a messy middle moment where you had to really overcome this? If you can share one of those moments, I think that would be really powerful.
Absolutely. So I was brought up in direct selling, guys. All of you just threw up in your mouth when I said that word, direct selling. And that's exactly how everyone else felt about it. And so I really was worried about like high school friends and my own family and my aunts and uncles. And it would seem like I would get all these messages that were just like, I'm going to unfriend you because I'm friends with you, not your business. And like, ew, this is really weird. I feel bad for you because you have a couple medical degrees and now you're like with Mary Kay, which I wasn't. Mary Kay was a great human. So my messy middle was like, I would put so much energy malls into these stupid messages of people that, never did anything big in life, to be honest, and that was fine. Versus the one good message of someone like, you're absolutely changing my life. My husband's now able to like stay home with the kids. We just took this massive Disney vacation paid in cash, right? So like all those things were just so muted because I was so worried about the noise of people again that I didn't, you know, I put too much value on. So
How relatable is that? Raise your hand if that's like relatable. Like with anything that you've done that you're just kind of like, these people, or even family members, right? Where you're just kind of like, I had so many family members that would just hit me from all sides. Who are you? What are you doing? Why do you think you can do this? You're making us look this type of way. You're living in it. Like, I mean, they would hit me with all of it. I'm like, wow, I mean, I don't even need to go out into the world. I just have the punching bag, like round after round with my own family, right? But
true.
it just builds that thick skin. So thank you for sharing that, Alex. I know that you've walked through so much. And when we take a second to remember those messy middle moments of what you've walked through, like I'm sure you probably thought of, wow, I could think of probably just a couple different posts or different angles of things that can come up. And most people have walked through that. It's the opinions of others that they will prioritize over the one that they're building it for. And I know for you, you build it for the Lord and you attract women that come in that really want that, to steward that well. And so whatever you're building it for, whatever you're focused on, don't forget those moments where you had that messy part where you're kind of like, I did not do well here, but you did overcome it. You did get out on the other side. And we forget to share those parts. And those are the parts that people really want to hear because it builds that bridge of, oh, they know how I feel. They know what I've walked through at whatever level that you're serving people. And I'm sure each and every one of us with what we're all building, even as I read these every time, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. Like I think of new stuff that I can come up with every time. And I'm the one that built this. And so it's like, it's a constant, like evergreen list. So maybe you're like me and you need to either, put it like voice it onto a document of some sort or keep it in a bank because the ideas get rolling, the bank is great to pull from when you have some of those dry days. But honestly, with AI right now, it's hard to have a dry day. You just tell it to ask you these types of prompts and you will have a well that you can pull from for quite literally ever. All right, the second story, and this is one of my favorites. So before I even built this system, this is what I walked most of my clients through, is building that signature story, that signature talk. Most people have come to me in the past and really, well, even now, to really be able to build something that they can present on stage. Because I cannot tell you how many people come to me. I know I'm supposed to speak on stage. I know I have something in me. Just what is that? So I think of a signature. Or you think of a thumbprint. No one can really copy your signature. Even somebody forging it, it will never be the same. No one can copy your thumbprint. Like when you are anointed and gifted with something, you might have people that copy, but they can't copy that anointing. And they cannot copy the gifting. They cannot copy the heart posture and the why and everything that you've walked through leading up to that point. So for anybody in here, if we feel like we have something and so many other people have it, I've been there too. But here's what I tell myself. I know I'm set apart. My story is set apart. And I don't say that out of arrogance or cockiness or anything. I just know what I've walked through. Other people need to hear how I got out on the other side to give them hope, to show them it's possible. On my podcast called It's Bigger Than Me, the part that I ask every single guest, just like I asked Allie here, is the messy middle. I talk to so many successful people on this podcast and day in and day out. I'm like, tell me where the part where you fell apart, where it was messy, where you didn't think you were actually going to get out. I want that part. Why? Because then you build this bridge, and that bridge builds trust. That trust leads people into an increased buyer confidence. Anybody want that? Like, anybody want to increase, like, people who want to buy from you, increase that confidence? That's what it does. So the signature story, it's very, very simple. It's going to answer these 3 questions as you build it out to really build your authority. Why you? This is where you have to dig a little bit deeper. Like, why me? And here's the thing. The reason why I call it the 7-story system isn't just because you're creating 7 stories. You actually need to go about 7 layers deep. Most people will go 3, 4 max. But when you keep asking that why and you get a little bit deeper, and yes, it takes a little bit of time, or of course, we have great tools now with AI to like help you pull it out even faster. Take the time to dig. Because if you don't even dig on question 1, everything else doesn't even matter. And then you're going to sound like everybody else. And then you'll just become noise on your podcast, on the internet, same program. People are going to be like, oh, I've heard that before. So take the time to go deeper. Question number 2, why this work? Like, why did you decide to build this business? And I'm just going to scroll up for some of the things that, everybody shared as far as business goes. Oh, wait, we got some good stuff in the chat here. Like what Susan mentioned, helping other women make the career transition, floundering. I'm sure you have quite a bit of a story as to why you're wanting to help women walk through that. Chances are you probably have walked through that to help other women walk through that and show them a better way, right? Most of us do. Same with you, Jessica, taking control of your health. I'm sure you have a great story of what brought you through this to get to this point to prioritize longevity. It's not just these quick fixes anymore. Let's do something that actually is going to sustain this body to carry us through to whatever the next day brings, the next week, the next year. Kimber, I know you have a podcast. And so being able to share people, and I love it, build it messy. Again, that messy part is so key and so relatable, right? It's so relatable. Even with Ray, with everything that they're doing with their businesses, I love the work because your heartbeat really is because I brought Ray into my inner circle community, and the line that I walked away with is let AI build things and do things for you so you can be in the parts where they need the human the most, the connection the most, to really be in it with people, but you're not being bogged down by all these other things that can be automated, right? And then of course, Allie, girl, you walk people straight from just stewarding everything. I mean, their relationship with the Lord, their business, their calling, and anybody who's connected to you, because I've experienced this. When they're in proximity to you, they want to multiply. They want to think bigger. They want to 10x instead of 2x. Like you bring that standard around. And so digging into, why are you doing this work? Like really get back into that and be able to expand. And then why they should trust you. Again, we are in a trust deficit right now. Why should people trust you, what you're building and how you do it over the other 5 people? And this isn't a place to compare. It's a place to actually let's get real and let's steward this. So to really ask ourselves, what did God allow to walk you through, to learn or lead that now equips you to serve your audience? What did he allow you to walk through? Keywords there, because he allowed it. There was a reason. There was a huge reason. So what you walk through, what you've learned, what you're leading now that equips you to serve that audience. You answer this question, oh my goodness, all the rest, you're going to just start firing off. And then people are going to be like, that was crystal clear. Thank you. I've been waiting for that. And then the last story that we'll touch on today is the client story. So really touching on with any client story, obviously you want to get the before. Where were they before? What happened before you met me? Why did what was the before picture looking like? The turning point where you had enough. We're done doing this same old same. The after. So before and after, we love all of that, but the new belief, that's the key piece. When people can start having new beliefs about themselves, and when that starts to come out, watch out. It's huge. So this is one that I see women specifically, guys have no problem talking about what they've walked their clients through, but women, this is a struggle point. This is a struggle point, but this is where we get to steward the transformation we helped walk people through. So I know for myself, sometimes I have to ask the people that I've served 4, 6, 10 times to give me a testimonial. And guess what? I do it every time with a smile on my face. I'm going to keep asking until deliver that to me. Thank you so much. And they're like, I'm so sorry it's taking so long. No problem. Just send it over. Like, I'm waiting. Because I tell them it's bigger than just me hearing from you and being able to shout you out and also say, this is what we've walked people through. Somebody is waiting to hear that transformation so their life can transform. So I always remind my clients, your transformation is the key for somebody else's breakthrough. So I'm going to need that just a little bit faster. If you don't mind, thank you so much. So I always also give them questions, like 3 questions to answer too. So they're like, what do I say? I'm like, here are the prompts. Just write it, send it over, or record a video. Even if you have people right now, you're like, oh, it's been a year. It's been 6 months. It's been 3 months. Go ask. Go ask. Gather that information. Put that out there. Because if people don't see that you're transforming other people, then you just sit in this like, well, they're telling me good things, but where's the proof? Where is the proof? That is a huge revenue leak. So what changed for my client because we did this work together is an easy way to kind of round that out. And so these are even before turning point, after new belief. You could even just phrase questions around that, send it to them real quick, 1 line, let me know, then put it together. And that is gold that you can now take forever and you can put everywhere else. But I see so many people, this is a huge leaking point where they don't do this nearly enough because they think they're bragging or they're boasting or they're being a bother. You are not bragging, boasting, or being a bother. You are stewarding the assignment. You're stewarding the person that you helped walk them through. And that's the key for somebody else's breakthrough. Where in your business right now do you feel like too much explaining is going on? Be honest with yourself. Maybe there's one area. Maybe it's the content that you're putting out day to day. It's kind of not really sure if it's dialed in there. The sales calls, your website might be all over the place, your emails. Speaking, whether it's to people, on podcasts, on stages, you might feel like it's a little bit of a mess. Like, be honest. Maybe it's not any one of these and something else came up, right? But what is it? Because I can tell you when I audit this in my own life, and I know I have, Ray and Allie here to testify, I'm like, oh, I could definitely work on saying less there. I love to talk. Clearly, I get paid to talk. But I'm like, where can I talk less? Where can I simplify? And so as I share this with other people, I'm always auditing it for myself of where can I bring more clarity so other people can understand clearer so I can steward the assignment better. And whatever it may be, the content, website, speaking, what have you, this is where your next story asset belongs, to bring clarity, to bring that authority, to bring that experience so people can really see that you're the one. One story, just one story can create clarity. But 7 strategic assets can change how your entire business communicates. And communication is key. How I started this earlier today was the reason why I even got into coaching is because when I left the news, got into network marketing that led me into the coaching industry, no matter what it was, people were selling something, but they weren't clear for the mission behind it, the lived experience behind it, the deeper why behind it. So people couldn't attach to that. Because they got scared of either sharing what it was or they didn't want to be rejected. Like Allie said, people's opinions, right? Like they were so worried and terrified of what people would say that it would stop them from building this business that was going to bring them freedom in X, Y, and Z area. Don't let that stop you because stories can change. 7 strategic stories can change how your entire business communicates and how people perceive it. So one thing that I want to be able to share with you for those that are like, okay, I know I have some stories in there and I need to share it. And we're going to start a little bit smaller than 7. Okay. So we talked about 1 story creates clarity. 3 stories can create a movement. And then of course we've talked about the 7-story system where you can create that ecosystem. But I have something called the 3-story starter kit that I'll share a QR code here in just a second. And these are the 3 stories that your audience needs to hear first. The trust story. This is like you're kind of warming them up before you really give them the boom. Like, here's what it's all about. The trust story so they can feel connected to you. Because if they don't, they will just keep doing this. Keep scrolling. till they find something they're like, ooh, that resonates. And they land there for a little bit. You want your content to be the, ooh, I want more of that. The turning point story. So they see what's possible. Just like I asked Allie, you bring that little messy middle part in there. Bring some of that experience of what you've lived through, what you've walked through, what you've overcome. And then belief shift story. So they know why now, not 3 months from now, not 6 months from now, not a year from now. Yeah, I'm sure you all have heard those people, oh, I'm doing this now, or, oh, you know, I have this going on. Or they always want to push it off. When you can really share the part that is going to help shift their belief and build a story like this, they will see the urgency and they will know it because you're going to keep showing up with that consistency, which will keep pressing on the, hey, it's right now. It's not 3 months, 6 months, it's now. It's now. So I created that 3-story starter kit, which is a great entry point into the 7-story system. And so if somebody does want access to the 7-story system to see what that looks like, you can type your email in the comments and I'm happy to share that with you. But this is a really great place to start. So you can build those first 3 stories to help build that trust, that turning point of this is what shifted for me. So it can really build that belief. And here's the thing. There's so many people that actually sorry, let me rephrase this. When you share that belief story, you will start to even believe more in yourself, which will build more belief in other people. They will believe you more the more you start sharing it because you will sound believable. So many people, they lack that belief. And then you don't even sound believable when you share it. But the more you share something, the more they're convicted by what it is that you stand for. And I'll never forget this phrase that one of my past mentors told me. People need to be led by your conviction, not your convincing. So if we're out there convincing people all the time, you will have to keep convincing them. But if they are connected to your conviction of this is why, this is what separates, this is the deeper parts, then they're like, I'm locked in. And it's not only just locked in with you of wanting to work with you, that opens up for referrals, for just retention in your business, all of the above. Because you're continuing this work, you're going deeper. So hopefully that helped. Did anybody, and I would love to hear come off me, if anybody has any questions, please, would love to be able to answer those. Or was there a particular story that maybe resonated with you of like, I can't wait to build that? Would love to hear if anybody has anything they'd like to share.
Molly, this was great. Thank you so much. We're kind of on a circuit here, a 3-year-old. There was the 7 stories. I had no idea. That was such a cool reframe. Sorry, this is where we're at. This is the situation right now. I was wondering if the 3 that you were just mentioning, the one that you're putting up there, is there a story arc or a framework that you say for the story specifically inside each story?
Is there a story or a framework that I have for each of the stories to share? Was that your question?
Yeah, a framework inside the stories.
A framework inside the story. So really what I like in the past, I've had frameworks that I walk people through, but what you're going to be doing with whether it's the 7-story system or the 3-story starter kit, basically the framework is being able to share with AI. So you can partner with AI with your lived experience to be able to have it ask the questions to dig a little bit deeper. So those 7 layers that I was talking about for any of the stories, it just helps you get there faster to take that lived experience and even pull out the stuff that you have forgotten. Because it's what it's going to tap on is what have you walked through? What have you learned? And now how are you implementing that? So that really is the framework, the live, the learn, the leadership experience that it's pulling.
Wow.
So then you can be able to put that out there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes.
This was great.
Of course. Yes, you are most welcome. Thank you for all the love in the comments. So obviously you can tell that I have a passion for helping people pull out the gold that is inside of them. You have that gold. It doesn't matter what level you're at. There's probably some gold in there that has just been waiting to be tapped on. It's just a matter of, do we want to go digging for that a little bit more? And that is the stuff that people really want to hear, no matter what. So it's always worth the time. One of the biggest hangups that I hear, I don't have the time. Like, here's a double negative. Unfortunately, you don't not have the times. Like you have to go there because that is what people are waiting on. If we don't have language to match what we've walked through, then we're just going to sit in the noise where everybody else is in the same industry, in the same place, but you are set apart. So I just want to speak that over you. You are set apart, and what you walked through wasn't just, oh, this is just part of the experience. It is actual mentorship to somebody else. And a quote the Lord gave me a long time ago is your story is meant to be mentorship to somebody else. And so when you can turn that experience into mentorship, that then turn into business assets that you can put out there at any time, because we're all having to put content out there. Why sit there and guess what should I say when you could already have a lineup that is like your A team that you can already deploy?
100%. Thanks so much, Molly. And
Yeah.
just to kind of, in these last few minutes, I know when it comes to storytelling and social media, I have my own things that I kind of get hung up on. Even if I've sorted out those stories, then it sort of doesn't go beyond my notes, or sometimes I won't post it or like actually take that action. So I just want to have a moment to invite everyone that is here to share, like, what is 1 to 3 action steps that you're going to take today, not tomorrow or later in the week, like literally today, right after this call, in the next, even 10 to 15 minutes. What do you want to declare or commit to doing based on what you just went through with Molly? I would love to kind of just hear and have that time to kind of organize your thoughts of what are you actually going to do with this, because all of it is great information, but we want to make sure that it's actually applied.
Yes, information, but then implementation. Absolutely. Love that.
And why don't we come off mute? Let's like use our voices to claim it.
Hi guys, my name is Jennifer, and I am a coach for nurses to help them with their burnout. And I'm currently launching, I just finished building courses on my Skool platform, and I'm trying to drive community to Skool. And I'm working on a 28-day kind of real calendar to start putting myself out there and offering value. But I've been really clear recently about my mission and how many nurses are leaving the field, and how it's an epidemic of lack of nurses because they are struggling with burnout. And as I'm getting clearer on my mission, I think building that into the story, the trust story on my own experience, and then sharing that with other nurses could be super helpful.
Absolutely. And I feel like if they feel more seen and heard, that's exactly probably why they're leaving, because they don't feel seen and heard and they want to go do something else where they do feel more just appreciated. And I'm 100% sure that they will feel so appreciated by your experience and what you're willing to share, because most people don't actually want to share, but the ones that are, there are many more people that are willing to listen. So I'm sure you'll have a big audience in no time that are like, thank you for your your truth and what you've walked through.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'm excited to hear that. I love that. Jessica, I see that you have unmuted.
Yeah, I think one of the big takeaways for me is just a little bit of that imposter syndrome. I think what I do, there's so much depth to it with being a nurse practitioner and just looking at the layers of health, and it's so personalized, and at times it just feels like there's always so much to learn about medicine. And at times it does feel like, okay, this is just, it's a lot and it's overwhelming. And then also there's that stewardship of like, okay, this is the gift that has been given to me, and it's the passion and all of that, and the organization to deliver it in a way that is simple, and not so complex, but the complexity is there, and that's like what I hold, and how to deliver that in a simple way for clients and patients. So that's kind of like what came up for me, is really that stewardship and following through with with it. And I really appreciated the depth of questions. Like most people will ask 4 or 5 questions and get to that, but I like it that it's just taking things one step further. And so that's kind of what came up for me, and just continuing to pursue and figuring out that clarity.
Beautiful. Well, I'm excited for you. And yes, and I feel like in any industry that's so relatable, even in mine, it's I always like to boil it down to 3 pillars, right? People can handle 3 is great. And then however deep you want to go with that, you can go in more depth because most people love to go, like I said, maybe 2 to 3, 4 layers. But then there are going to be those few that are like, I'm going deep, I'm going all the way down and I'm ready to absorb it all. And so, yes, I'm sure in medicine, like it is just an endless black hole of information of what you can share. But what are the couple things that you are incredible at? And then the stories behind that of like what's been pivotal for you. Because I want to encourage you, people aren't looking for you to be the end all be all, but they're like, what are you what are you excellent in? What have you walked through that you can help me walk through? And then I think that will really help you clarify. Because when it comes to speaking, what it is that I do, there are so many different angles that I don't even touch on. Some clients just barely want to be able to tell their story. Other ones are like, teach me the tonality and the body posture and like what my face looks like when I speak. Like everybody wants something a little bit different. And so it's serving them where they're at. But like, here's that baseline. And so I'm sure you probably have a couple things. And I always love the power of 3 that you can, really pull out. And I'm sure you're not the only one, like there are so many people who feel that way. So I know that you are going to find it. You're going to get clarity on it. And I think you're just going to be excited about the results you're going to yield from that.
Thank you.
Yes, Jennifer, imposter syndrome, it is real. We all go through it. But you know what? That is a lie from the enemy. He wants us to be confused. He wants us to be like overwhelmed. He wants all these things, but that is not it. So we just get to speak that out and off in Jesus' name and just know that what we have, how can I clarify in simple? If I have to explain this to a 7-year-old, would they understand, right? Because simplicity is key. And whether they are a 7-year-old or multiple 7-figure business owner, they still love simplicity. It's just a matter of like, how deep are they willing to go? So everybody loves simplicity. That is key. Awesome. Anyone else?
Since I got to do the 3-story system, I will give you a live, real life feedback. So myself and my team went through it. And like Molly said, like from the get-go, sometimes we don't want to keep telling our stories. And there's a truth to that because it's boring, right? We're all high achieving women and like keep saying it, Jen, like I was burned out. I was burned out. I was burned out. I'm a nurse. Jess is a nurse. Like girlfriend, we get burned out. I've been in business 14 years because nursing just like ate me up and spit me out after having a 1-pound miracle baby in the NICU 105 days. I'm like, check please. But if like so it's a AI bot, obviously, and you go back and forth with it, back and forth, like through her story systems, it like kind of makes it fun again. You're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally overcame like hell on earth, right? Like, oh my gosh, I've like literally lived through like 10 lives and I'm alive and this is amazing. I'm kidding, but not really, right? We sometimes like don't realize like how hard it is. Yet most of our people are in hard, if we're honest. God gave us a gift. People have a problem. Our gift is a solution to their problem. So we're bridging them all the time. So the 3-story slides is like, well, let me get you over the rainbow bridge and let it be less painful. Because like Molly said at the beginning, we don't want to be hard on their brain. Ain't no one want hard on their brain. They want simple. You have this problem. I have this solution. I am the solution to your problem. Let's ride the bridge.
I love it. Yes. You want to be that solution. People are looking for the solution. And thank you, Allie. I appreciate it. I know you and your team went through it and it does make it fun again. And even my own testimony with that, I remember being in the middle because I went through all these myself too. Like I tested them all out. I mean, I was in the middle of a cafe. I just remember tears automatically coming down my face. Not that everybody wants to cry. I did not expect it. I was like, I did overcome that. Oh my gosh. Like I forgot about that. It was stuffed so far down because it's not something even at the like 5th, 6th, 7th layer of mind. Forget the top layer. But it was something where I was like, wow, like you get more grace and just even appreciation for what you've walked through, which just builds the deeper roots when the storms come in your business. But it also shows people like, look, Like I have some substance here, and that's what people want to go through. Or sorry, those are the people that people want to follow when they go through it. So great. Thank you much, Sam. Thank you so much, Sammy. Thank you so much for having me. I put it in the comments if you guys want to tap into the 3-story starter kit there, or just follow me on Instagram. Let's connect. Would love to be able to connect with you. I am always over there. I love to have fun over there. But it's just been an honor to be in here today. So thank you so much for having me.
You are so amazing, Molly. Thank you so much for blessing all of us. And yeah, definitely everyone stay connected, because also the content that Molly's putting out, it shows you like these systems in the works, right? And gives you really good examples of what that can actually look like. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed and beautiful Tuesday, and we'll see y'all soon. We're going to be continuing to do these guest expert sessions on Tuesdays at noon. So if you don't have that on your calendar, reach out to me or Sammy, and we'll make sure that you get them on your calendar. We're kind of reorganizing the organizational side of things with that, but we've been having incredible guests come on, and so we're really curating it to make sure that it's kind of like the next steps that we think our community could really use support with, and we'd love to have you guys there. All right, so I'll see y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye, beautifuls.